Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. I thought I'd do a little chatty video today, a little kind of a life, is it a life update? I don't know if it's a life update. So amazingly, this is like literally, has it ever happened before? It might have happened a couple of times before, but all of my children are out of the house. So Hope has gone out for a shopping spree with Josh's mum, which is very lovely. And the other two are out with my friend because we did child swap, so I had her kids a couple of weeks ago, and then she's got mine this afternoon. And so Josh and I have just been out to Wetherspoons, had a little lunch, had a little walk, got a little cup of tea, and that was really lovely. It's like a 2-hour little time out. It's really nice. So he's just about to go for a run, and I was like, I'm going to come and do a video in the summer house. I absolutely love it in here. What amazing weather it has been, and I literally just love sitting in here all the time. And yeah, it's really nice. It's warm, so like they're all the clothes. It's warm. It's now a little bit chilly outside because it's like 4:30, and it's warm in here, so it's really nice and peaceful. And you know, you feel like you're outside but also inside. So yeah, I had an awful realization yesterday that when I go out to coffee shops, which is not a rare occasion, as you will probably know, I often get a toasted tea cake. Firstly, because it's like not really sweet, and I'm not really into like sweet cakes and stuff. Sugar doesn't make me feel like really good. And also I think, oh, that's pretty good. Like it's basically like bread, and I don't tend to eat bread at home. So it's like, so it's basically like bread with a bit of raisins in it, like it's fine. Well, I went out yesterday with Sam. We went to a coffee shop because the girls were at class, and I saw, because they have on the side of things they have the calories, don't they? And I saw that the free toast that I was getting was 574 calories, more calories than all of the cakes that were on display, and I was absolutely shocked. And I was like, oh my goodness, there's me thinking I've been like doing pretty healthy, and I haven't. So I've realised that I'm probably going to have to give up my tea cake / fruit toast addiction if I'm going to want to lose weight, because I'm doing really well. I haven't got scales, so I don't actually know if I've been doing well, but my clothes are fitting better. I really wanted to get on top of my weight. Food has been like a major issue for me all my life. I'm a massive emotional eater. I love food. Like if I could eat all the time, I probably would. Like I think about food a lot, but I also put on weight very easily, and find it hard to get it off. So there have been times in my life where I've got it off really well, without massively trying. But I think now, as I'm getting a bit older, getting closer to the 40 mark, which is very scary, it's probably not as easy. And so yeah, so I'm trying. And when I'm like at home, like generally I'm pretty good. Yeah, I'm having salads and generally good things. But when I'm out, that's when the trouble comes. So I went to Starbucks this morning, as I often do on a Saturday, and I got instead an all-day breakfast wrap, which had like egg, spinach, sausage, tomato. It was so tasty. It was so nice, and it was less calories, like 100 calories less than the fruit toast. And you know what? Like with the fruit toast, it's lovely because it is a bit sugary. I feel like by about 11 o'clock, I'm like a bit shaky. I feel like I've got like a low blood sugar thing. I feel like I always get a little bit shaky. So like often, particularly if I'm like going out for a long day, I'll always take ready salted crisps with me because they balance my electrolytes. Because sometimes I can feel a bit shaky and feel like I'm going to pass out. Then I have the crisps, they balance my electrolytes again, and I'm fine. So so I feel like that's probably a bit of an issue. Anyway, this was just brilliant. So I think that just might be the way forward. So I'm going to have to watch for that kind of thing. And actually, like, so that was what, just under 500 calories. 500 calories for a breakfast isn't that bad, is it? It's just, I guess the other stuff wasn't so good. Anyway, riveting content here. That's what you're getting from me. Riveting. I am thinking of getting a bread maker because, as you might know, I'm trying to get into the unprocessed food thing. I've just got a couple of books in the library today which looks so good about unprocessed food. One of them's that one by that Dr. Van Tullochen, and I'm very excited to read that. And so when I was looking at Josh's bread, if you saw my grocery haul, you saw that I got the Jason's ciabatta, and he didn't like it. He said it was quite dry, and it's quite small bits of bread, so like for his sandwiches it's just not really big enough. And then but what I saw, the normal brown wholemeal seeded loaf that he's getting, it says it's ultra processed. I saw it on one of these programs, so I was like, what do I do? So at the moment he's having the brown ultra seeded processed one, but I think I'm going to get a bread maker and make my own bread, because it's really hard to do it without a bread maker. And people absolutely rave about them. So if you have a bread maker, A, will you tell me which one you have so that I can have a look, and B, you know, any advice around bread makers would be really great, because I have no idea what I'm talking about. Like, is it really easy? Do you just like stick all the ingredients in, walk away, and then do you have to put it in the oven, or does it bake in the bread maker? I think the bread maker just mixes it, doesn't it? Or does it actually bake it too? I have no idea. But I think that might be a really good investment, because it just means it's a lot less processed. I watched this woman on YouTube as well. I could not tell you her name for the life of me. I don't think I even know her name, but she is from America. But she does these big like batch cooking hauls, and I think they're really interesting. And she has got her own little like wheat grinder in her kitchen. It's insane. I so want one. Well, I kind of do and don't. I want one because they look cool, and it grinds wheat in your kitchen and makes flour, which is so cool. But she says you have to cook with it differently because it's wetter than normal flour, and I'm not ready for doing all new recipes and messing around with that. But I did think it looked really interesting. If you watched my video a few weeks ago about my healing from depression, I thought I'd just kind of expand on that. I was healed back in, well, I thought it was October, but someone said it was November, so anyway, it's one of those, and I wasn't ready to talk about it for a little while. It took me a little while to kind of realise that I'd been healed from depression, and then after that I was kind of like coming to terms with it, and I think sometimes like you have to look back to be able to process what happened, and I wasn't ready for that. It was too close and too raw for me to be able to properly look back. But now it's March. I feel like for the last kind of 4-6 weeks, I've been able to really process, or start the processing journey of processing all that I'd went through when I was depressed. And you know, like sometimes you think about situations and you're like, right, why did I find it so hard to cope in that situation? Was it just me and I was a little bit crazy? You know what I mean? Like a little bit like mentally exhausted or whatever, or was it a circumstantial thing? You know, was it actually really a hard situation and no wonder that I got depressed because it was really difficult? Or was it you know, was it just me making a big deal out of nothing? Or I don't, do you know what I mean? And so it's really nice to kind of look back now, and there are things that I'm like thinking back to and I'm like, Beth, like no wonder you found that hard. Like it's really difficult. Like I was bringing up like, well, and still am, 3 children, 2 with that are neurodivergent, with like basically no family support, because well, that's just kind of our situation, right? Now, before you have children, like no one's saying to you, I mean, maybe they are some people, but no one said to me, and I did not think myself, right, like think about who your support system is going to be, because you don't actually know how much support you're going to need. Like I never thought like, oh, I'm going to need childcare for when I go to work. I just never really thought about it. I just thought, oh, I'll just send them to a childminder, and I did for a lot of the time, and that they've all been to childminders. But then it was like that extra bit. It's like, what if Josh is away at work and one of them, you know, and I'm really ill, and this is where I was getting the health anxiety. Like there's no one that I could just, or very few people, certainly no family that I could just call up at the drop of a hat and go, I'm ill, please come and get the kids. Josh is 7 hours away at the other end of the country, like, or Josh can't leave work, or do you know, like there was no one like that. So I'm looking back, there's a fly. So it's annoying me. And then looking back and I'm like, yeah, no wonder I found that hard, because there were situations like that. And there's loads of different things like that, aren't there, that you just don't really think about. And or, you know, Josh would take on more hours at work, which was great, and more money, particularly when we were younger, you know, just starting out. But that meant that he was away from home a lot of the time, and it was just me and the kids, and that's difficult. Like, you know, particularly when they're little, or they're having meltdowns, like that's really hard. And so part of it, I've looked back and been like, oh wow, I just really find that hard to cope with. There are lots of things that I think, because I'd got into this like kind of maybe burnout, I was just then trying to so struggle to get through every day and just cope. But there's also lots of things where I'm like, Beth, like you did really well there. Like, no wonder you found that hard. It was actually a really hard situation. It wasn't because you're a loser. You know, it was just because like that was a really difficult situation and you're trying to do it all on your own. And that's really nice, like validation for me to see that. And there were times where a lot of it is for burnout, or look, he's going for a run. He's coming to see me. He's gone. He's used to do runs all the time, but his work's been really busy at the moment, so he's not been able to get out. I think he went one lunchtime this week, which is, I always feel sad for him because it's been like such amazing weather this week, and he's literally been out like once. So I guess like this Saturday we're like trying to be out of the house all day, because apparently next week it's going to be cold again, which is so sad. So yeah, it's just really lovely to process it. And that's really, and I can tell that's going to be a little bit of a journey, but it's, you know, life is just so different. Like, I went to Starbucks today. As you know, I like the hour in the morning on a Saturday when I've got no children. Like, no one is asking anything of me. I'm also not with a friend, because being with a friend is lovely, but you're mentally working all the time. And I just need an hour just to sit in kind of like silence. And it was really lovely. But when I was feeling really low, it was like I needed that. It was like I could like feel myself counting down the days or the hours until I could get that break, and I needed it to be able to cope. Whereas now I'm like, it's just a nice thing to do. I enjoy it, but if I didn't have it, it would also be okay. And that's a really nice point to get to. And just there's so many other things. I just feel like as well, I used to have to be so busy, and I made myself really busy so that I could just survive through the day, because I didn't want to have to stop and think. I didn't want time to go slowly. I wanted time to go quickly so I could just get through. But now I don't feel like that, and I feel like I've now put in place lots of things that I'm doing that make me really busy, and I don't want to be busy. I want to rest. I want to take time over things and enjoy things. Like with the homeschooling, I'm really enjoying it at the moment. It's lovely. And before, I felt like I was a bit kind of rushing through it, but now I'm just like, I feel like we could spend hours on topics and projects and stuff. Like, I just feel so different about it. And I feel like now, because I have got other things in, you know, like particularly childminding and stuff, that's like right in the middle of the afternoon I have to go on the school run. That's just really stopping our being able to like really enjoy the home education so much. Like, especially as it gets nicer weather, like if we want to go out anywhere, we have to fit it all in plus all the work before like 2:30. And I needed to have prepared everything and got the house ready and all that kind of thing. And I feel like it's like, I feel like life is like that pretty much every day. I feel like it's just rush after rush after rush, and just going from one thing to another. And I just don't want life to be like that. I want to rest. And I actually feel like the real lovely, what should I say? It's really nice to be able to feel like I want to have a slow life. Because people have said it before, and I'm like, oh, I can see how the benefits would be nice. And I've tried to do that for my children. So I've tried to help them to have a bit more of a slow life. But for me, I've never kind of done that because I've never wanted it. But now I really see the benefits of a slow life, and I want that for myself. I don't want to be rushing here, there and everywhere all the time. I want to spend lovely quality time with my children, and I'm in a really privileged position to be able to do that. So yeah, I'm just really looking for areas where I can cut things out so that I can just slow down and not be like quite so busy. I'm busy with things that I don't want to be busy with. But that's a really nice place to be. I've been reading a book recently. It's a Theraplay book, and it's really interesting. They use not toys, but like interactions between an adult and a child to make the child feel really valued and seen and important, to raise their self-esteem. And I found it absolutely fascinating, and I've learned a bit about this when we did our adoption training course years ago, and we used some of the techniques, particularly with like impulse control, with Sam, who was our youngest at the time, and it's just absolutely fascinating, and it's really fascinating, and I think I want to put some of these things into practice and try them out with my own children. Like, even if they haven't got self-esteem issues, like, you can always improve someone's self-esteem, right? It can always be more. And so some of them are really lovely, like you might put lotion like on their arms, and then as you do, like, you're noticing things about them, like, oh, you've got a little freckle here, or you've got a little scratch here, or whatever. Or it might be something like they have, like, you put something on you. I know some of this sounds a bit like child protection-y, but in the book, like, explains it, because obviously child protection's different now than it was when Theraplay first started. But it's like, you might put something up your sleeve, and then the child has to like pull it out of your sleeve, so they're touching, and then you're touching them. But that's really good, particularly for children who've been through trauma and stuff, because they're learning that, like, their body is separate, but also their body, like, they're valued. And I don't know, I don't quite understand the theory behind it, but it's just amazing, and I think it's really cool, and I really want to use it with my children. And I'll probably put a bit more about it on here once I've finished reading the book, because I just think anything you can do to improve a child's self-esteem is worth it. It's been a bit of a busy week this week. We had this service at, well, it wasn't at our church, but it's a service at another church. It was so it's the World Day of Prayer, and all around the world there are services, and they look at a different country every year, and like Christians from that country make the service, like put together the service that everyone all over the world does, like the same service. And so this year it was our church that was running it, and so we'll be doing that, and that was last night. And it's really, like, not that hard. Like, I've done lots of services before. I wasn't even in charge, I was just helping, and for some reason it just really got to me, and I've just like thought about it a lot. And you know, when these things, so my hand's shaking, so I'm trying to like balance it. You know, when these things kind of like take over a little bit. So like, I was doing a PowerPoint, and then we went and I thought, like, that's fine, I've got it down. And then we went for rehearsal, and it didn't work in the way that I'd wanted it to work. So then the whole rest of the week I was just worrying about it. And you know, when it's like these things take up all your thought, and you can tell, like, in the back of your mind you're thinking about it loads. And I was like, even like literally going to myself yesterday morning, like, Beth, stop thinking about it. It's a really minor thing that you have to do. And then there was like 2 new songs that I'd had to learn. One that I was singing with, I was leading some like young people in it, and one that I was singing on my own. Again, really not that hard, but I was like, oh, if I don't keep going through it, I'll forget it. So I kept going through it like all the time for the last 2 weeks. It was just really annoying, because like, I've done bigger, you know, when you're like, but I've done bigger things than this, and I haven't worried so much about it. But anyway, it's over now, and I was really pleased that it was over. I feel like today I'm like, oh, life is mine again, and I can think about other things rather than these 2 songs and this blooming PowerPoint. So it's really nice, and it's sunny and lovely. So yeah, you know, you just do these things, and you're like, it was just really annoying. But I did have a lovely time, and then afterwards I went to the pub with some friends, and that was really lovely. So yes, it was lovely, but today is a new life. Right, I'm gonna go, because if you've stayed this long, you've done well. I'm just rabbiting on, but thanks for watching, guys, and I will see you again soon. Bye.